Hello, I'm Becky.
And I'm Mickey, and here we are with the Inglorious reviews. We're back again with the Flash episode this week. No Arrow.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, for all you who are sticking around.
Yeah, sure you're probably all too busy with holiday stuff to watch this, but we'll post the video just the same.
Yeah, we're a day before. They can watch it Friday.
Yeah.
Or with family on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we've got a cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hello. Say hello to Neptune, everyone.
See, this is Neptune, our new addition.
Yeah. Well, I got a cat. Alright. Anyways. So this week, no Arrow, but we did have a Flash episode.
A very good one, I thought.
309, I think.
Yes.
308.
308, 309.
Power Outage.
Yes.
Good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so let's get started. Alright, so there was a new character this week called, what? I think Cisco decided he was called Blackout.
Yeah, his name, he's from, if you guys read the comics, it's Farquo or something like that. He's from the Flashpoint universe, which is an alternative universe for the Flash. And he's usually called Blackout. There's not much on him. He can drain, basically, energy powers from people. So that's the extent of his. And we see that in the episode that he drains the powers of the Flash for a little bit, of Barry Allen. And for any of you who don't know, the powers that orange aurora, that's the Speed Force. Something that hasn't been touched on at all in the TV show yet. But the Speed Force is what gives Barry Allen his powers. And the fact that he's kicked it up a notch now means he can actually connect to the Speed Force, which makes him basically even faster than he has been in the last couple episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very different, typical Freak of the Week villain. Okay, here's the thing. Really, this was an episode about Dr. Wells. You know, it starts with Dr. Wells, it ends with Dr. Wells, and it goes into his psyche more. Okay, something I was wondering, this guy caused an accident and, 7 people died? How is he not in prison?
Because there was an accident.
Well, I know, but with that sort of thing, people would, 7 people died and it caused all kinds of damage and put someone in a coma. You would think people would say, file charges, do this, do that, get this guy in prison. There would be all kinds of lawsuits.
But when you look at it, it was an accident, and he's also very powerfully connected. He's connected to the general, and they both talked about, saying they can't take down each other without, having both go down.
Yeah, but still, 7 people died. You'd think there would be talk about putting him in prison. So, it just really made me wonder. Because, I kind of got the idea at the beginning that, it was just Barry got struck and he was special.
Well, that was naive view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, Barry, was appalled at him letting Tom go. Tom, what's his name?
Girder, yes.
Yeah, Girder. And he was shocked, and he was like, and Barry tells him, okay, chess is your game. You don't see those people, you see those pawns. And I feel like that's the sort of thing, that would, and that would maybe let Barry know that he's not someone to be trusted. But at the end of the episode, it's all back to the way it was before.
Yeah, Mr. Harrison Wells plays a sneaky game.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what's going to happen. We see that when he goes into that room, he knows the future. He has that holographic newspaper. He refers to his AI, whoever it is, as Gideon.
Yeah.
Which, for the comic book people in the Marvel Universe, Gideon is a new god from the Crisis era, which is very obscure. Whether they're using that as a link of some type to make Harrison Wells very much a new god might be a stretch, but it might be just a coincidence that the name's the same.
Maybe.
I'm still betting that he's Hunter Zolomon, who is Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Since at the end of the episode, he wants to know what can take away his powers.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I had this idea of okay, so when Harrison's gone, Gideon's gonna be this interactive, help, sci-fi, exposition help, AI sort of thing that they'll have around the facility. So I can kind of see Gideon maybe developing into a little bit of a small facility character.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll
In
do
the
with
end.
him because he's so far just Harrison Wells' connection.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, if I were Harrison Wells, and Barry was like right in the facility, and he was like able to speed around quickly. I wouldn't be walking around without my glasses on. I'm just saying,
Maybe,
I do that at night when no one was around.
I think it's very much a cover. Like
Yeah.
he wears the glasses and sits in the wheelchair so nobody suspects anything. Because every time he's in that room, no glasses and he's walking around like a perfect person.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, the thing is, Harrison, he doesn't even deny that he was using Thomas bait. He calls him a distraction. He says, I chose us over him. He doesn't even like try to like sugarcoat and be like, well, I offered him his freedom and against the chance to face off this guy or whatever. Like he was, doesn't even try to play it off like it was a noble. He had, it was his own choice, to make up for the stuff he did. Blah blah blah. He doesn't even sugarcoat it. He says that he was a sacrifice. He basically admits that he used this guy as a pawn, and like, I would be like so like, I find that so sketchy. Like even after it was over, I would not like. Even just him, like, listing off that he knows the names of the people who died in the accident. Like, that's one thing to, like, to feel guilty about that one thing, but the fact that he was so willing to do that, to say, to sacrifice this guy and be so callous about it, that speaks to, like, a serious character flaw, overall character flaw, and I would be really squicked out about trusting that guy after that.
I think they may play with that later in the episodes. Because now that they know that Harrison Wells knew those people, and they knew they let him out, he let him out as a sacrifice. I think Cisco and what's her name are gonna wonder what's going on. I think one of them might figure out something else. Barry Allen might, try to, I don't know, dig deeper maybe. Into who Harrison Wells actually is.
They said I read somewhere that in the next episode the Arrow is going to say something to Barry about Wells that's going to get him curious.
That'll be quite interesting because there is that little crossover next week.
Yeah.
Talking about Arrow, not that we had an episode, but the villain that we saw in the police station, King Clock. It's King Clock is an actual Arrow villain. It's not a Flash villain all the time. So the fact that he's in, Central City shows that they're really trying to push that crossover of villains and such.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the hold-up scene. Okay, the thing is, this episode really again highlights my idea about Iris deciding to become a policewoman, because like these last few weeks, like you really have to stretch to bring her blogging into the central storyline, and I'm afraid like if she just becoming a blogger or even a journalist would just be a whole lot of her almost getting captured a million times and Barry saving her, which will get really formulaic and really old after a while. But this week, her being in there, like, her being there, just happening to be there, and like her, going up against King Clock, that was a good way to get her into the story. But she can't just happen to be there be at the police station every time something bad happens. She can't just happen to be at
stuck
whatever
in the
else.
mess. Yeah.
So I really wish that they would decide to have Iris decide that she wants to try again for the police academy.
I mean, I think I can see them doing that. I don't see why not. It might help them do stuff. I mean,
yeah.
But for all we know, they could just not make her do that.
Yeah, and again, okay, and I'm starting to see this thing with Iris. She's clearly starting to get a crush on the Flash. Like, clearly she is. And clearly Barry's enjoying that. But I think it's going to be one of those things where Superman Lois Lane thing where Iris doesn't see anything in Barry, but she has this big crush on his alter ego, and she can never find out. And then there's this whole thing. And it was just going to be a recap, just like a second-rate Lois Lane Superman story kind of a thing.
Yeah, and at least you're like, how do they not recognize the person? I mean, with the Flash, I know he blurs his face, but really, when it comes down, it's like, all those things you pick up, things people say, you'd feel like they'd pick up and say, hey, wait a minute, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Aren't you the Flash?
Mm-hmm. But. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't like that very much. Like, if she were, like, a policewoman and he, like, came in and helped her on cases and stuff and sped off, I don't know, it would be a good way to get them involved in the storyline together. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. I feel like, they kind of, eventually they're going to run out of, oh, she happens, this person, tracks her down because of her blog, or, oh, she happens to be at the police academy, the police station when this happens, or whatever. Or happens to be at the coffee shop. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll have to change her character of what she does. Otherwise, it becomes kind of routine, and that gets boring for us. Yeah. I mean, they didn't really, which was nice though, coming from routine, is they didn't do Freak of the Week really this week. They had 2 villains at the same time, which was nice. Yeah. So I like that change rather than having one villain, he's done, and then having somebody else next week. Yeah. Now we actually have a storyline that arcs a little bit.
Yeah, I don't understand why they put his body bag in the pipeline.
Just because I don't think he's dead. I think he's knocked out.
No, I don't. I think he's dead.
Oh.
I think if he were just knocked out, then I don't think they'd have just put his body in the thing. I don't think they'd have made a show of her zipping up the body bag.
Yeah, true. I mean, he might be he's dead. Sitting there because they don't want anybody else to find him. Yeah, because they feel like they could re-jolt him back to life.
Maybe.
By keeping him in a sealed container, they save that. I'm really wondering what Wills is going to do with that, with Blackout's blood.
Yeah.
Blackout, because he says, you know how to siphon off Barry's power, and I want to know how. That's why it leads me to be Reverse Flash.
Maybe he's trying to become the Flash. Maybe
and that's why I think he's Reverse Flash.
Maybe he wants to get rid of the old Flash and become the new Flash.
Well,
and that's why it's so important to him that he vanishes that day.
I guess when it comes down to the Reverse Flash, his whole thing is he admires the Flash, but he gets to the point where he wants to replace the Flash. So by doing this, you can siphon off the power. I mean, if he learns to use the Speed Force, he can do that. Besides that, I mean, the other alternative is that he's not so much Reverse Flash as he's one of the many Flashes from alternative universes, since he does know the future. And he wants to keep Barry alive. So he has Barry's future must have something to do with his timeline. And he has to keep him alive, or, Harrison Wells' time actually won't exist anymore. There might be a connection there, but we haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
To say, hey, look, there's some crossover where he's come here for a reason.
I don't know. King Clock was pretty cool as a villain.
You should see him in the comics. He's actually got a clock face in the comics. They made him a bit more reasonable in the show, which is nice.
Yeah. Eddie Thorne went back to barely being a character.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked his scenes last week. We learned a little bit more about his past and stuff like that. But he had scenes with Barry that high on painkillers part was kind of funny. But for the most part, not much of
the regular stuff, yeah.
Yeah, they're just kind of keeping him on the edge until they're ready to use him, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to use him for. Yeah, kind of like... Except for Eddie, I feel, has more potential than
Eddie's does useful, actually.
Yeah, he does stuff.
Yeah. So, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harrison Wells, it continues to be sketchy.
He's a mystery. And, if you read any of the comicbook.com or anything like that, there's theories of what he could be or who's he connected to and who we're going to see in the next few episodes.
Yeah, I thought we would see more of Joe's reaction to, the man in the yellow suit last week. threatening threatening, I almost called it Laurel. There's a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Um, I thought I'd see more of his reaction, or of him, like, being stronger, telling Iris, stay away from the Flash stuff, delete your blog, or, like, telling, Barry, like, like, I don't know, like, I can't help you, or, at least saying what happened, but he just didn't do anything except, act a little shaken up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he can't say too much because I don't think he understands what he saw. But imagine he tells Barry, he says, hey, I saw somebody who has the same powers as you do in a yellow suit.
Mm-hmm.
And Barry says, hey, that's the same person who killed my parents. Who else has my power? He confronts Harrison Wells. What does Harrison do? If he's Reverse Flash, he's got to make up something. If he's not, there's some mystery. I don't know.
Yeah.
What they could use it, but it could also kind of like dive right into the whole alternate universe, jumping through the Speed Force.
I don't know, because like Harrison's obviously got this whole agenda thing.
He does.
But last week he worked really hard to convince Joe that the man in the yellow suit couldn't exist, and then the man in the yellow suit showed up and threatened Joe, so he knows he exists. So it would be counterproductive for Harrison to do all this work to make Joe think it doesn't exist, and then confirm that he does exist the same night.
Yeah.
So it might have been someone else.
It could easily be someone else in, as I said, the alternative universe Flash, or somebody from the future.
Yeah.
Who's looking to protect his own timeline.
Yeah.
Would be the most probable response there.
Yeah. So the 309, the fall finale in 2 weeks after the big Arrow crossover episode is called The Man in the Yellow Suit. So I think a bombshell or two is going to be dropped for that episode.
So we'll actually see who the Reverse Flash is. I mean, he's the guy in the yellow suit. We'll see who he actually is, what he's doing, and what he intends to do.
Yeah.
I mean, because we have that crossover next week, we see that I always want to say Captain, because there's so many Captain villains. But Clock King is on the loose again, so we have Arrow Mr. Oliver Queen coming in, taking him out, most likely.
Yeah.
We'll probably see maybe the return of Boomerang Man, who we saw 1 week ago, at the end of Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually a Flash villain, if I'm not mistaken. So I like that switching of not making regular villains in the same universe. I think is really nice. Gives them some variety.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I feel like, okay, the thing with the Flash, clearly they're planning on having the series go for a while, because I mean, it's like one of the highest maybe even rated shows on the network right now.
Yeah.
So clearly they're expecting a second season renewal. They're expecting for it to go a long time. So clearly they've put so much stuff. They've got all these characters from the comics in it. Clearly they're planning on, having a lot of stories for, to go, to take them through a really long time. The thing is, they've set so much up that, like, there's, the fall finale's coming up, and it feels like we still have such a long way to go to learn anything. Like, how could anything be resolved? Or, like, any real progress be made, like, 2 weeks from now? Or, stuff like,
I think we'll just hit. They won't give us everything. There's no chance of that. It'll be very much a bombshell of more. I think it'll be something along Harrison Wells' idea in the yellow suit. Anything else would not be connected well enough at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we have like 11 episodes in the season left at this point.
It's something like that, yeah.
And I don't know that any real plot stuff will happen next week because of the crossover episode. It's going to be a smaller thing.
Yeah, I think we might get Easter eggs from that episode, or from those 2 episodes, for that matter. But I don't think we're going to get some heavy stuff.
With everything that they've set up, murder mystery, who is Reverse Flash? What is Harrison Wells? What's Eddie? Eddie Thawne, and
what's his full deal?
Yeah, and all the all this different stuff. Like, how are we gonna have the time to get to all of that? Because they've put so much in Grodd, too,
Which
things like that.
is confirmed if you read some of the comicbook.com. They've confirmed that one. So we'll see an interesting live action of Grodd.
Not quite sure how they're gonna do that one, especially on a TV show budget.
Yeah, well, Grodd kind of morphs himself into a human in the beginning, so we may see that. But I think, as Harrison Wells said, he's got to kick it up a notch, and I think that's what they're going to do in the next couple, maybe not the next couple episodes, but the next season, if that. Is they're going to kick it up so it's faster.
Yeah.
And we put the pieces together, so we're not like looking for things and like, oh look, we have to wait 3 episodes for this. It'll be maybe 2, maybe 1. Since I think the Flash works better when it's fast. I mean, just as he does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and again, on a more personal level with the plots, I still feel like Katelyn and Barry have more chemistry with each other than Barry and Iris do. Like, the scenes where they were talking together, where he was like, being all sincere with her, I could feel like there was a chemistry there that I just kind of don't see with him and Iris. Like, the last scene with the Flash and Iris, when they're talking, like, I can see a bit of a tension there, because they're really trying to play up that tension. But when Barry and Iris talk, like, I don't see that romantic chemistry.
It's
I still
friends.
don't.
It's the friends thing is still there.
Yeah, so I still kind of think that Katelyn and Barry, maybe they should explore that.
Barry just seems to have all the luck with the ladies.
Yeah.
Felicity, Katelyn, except for Iris. Blondes, that's who he's got game with.
Yeah, well, he and Katelyn don't technically have anything, but...
No, but...
Yeah.
Chemistry.
But, I don't know, if... it just seems like they're better suited to, two academics, like that they'd be better suited to each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Iris doesn't have that academic level.
Mm-hmm. No, she doesn't. She doesn't even really...
I don't think
we still don't even know what her major is.
Yeah, I don't think she understands.
She's in graduate school for, I don't know, I bet she's a philosophy major.
You know what? I wouldn't doubt it. We can guarantee she's not in the physical or natural sciences.
Mm-hmm. And she only seemed to take the journalism class on a whim, so she's not an English major or anything.
Yeah, it was very recommended. Bad idea.
Yeah. So,
horrible consequences.
No, weird. So, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think we have a nice short episode for you this week.
Yeah, for once.
Usually it's double this, but you got lucky.
Yeah, normally we spend like 30 extra minutes complaining about how much Roy sucks.
We didn't have to do that this week.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Don't hold your breath.
But next week...
We don't hold your breath, we might have to.
Next week we'll get like the double dose of Roy's suckiness, because he'll be on The Flash too.
Hope he does something important.
Yeah.
He doesn't get himself killed.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't get beaten up by some amateur.
He'll get beaten up with the Flash.
He'll get knocked out in the first act, and we won't see him for the rest of the episode.
Trips him. He's like, ha, gotcha.
Oh man, that was bad last episode. That really was. Alright, well, comment, like, subscribe,
yeah, we haven't
do all
had
that.
Any comments.
We haven't. I want to know what people think, like, even if you disagree with us.
Yeah, if you have more ideas, please tell us, because we get a lot of likes, but comments are scarce to come by.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, I want to know what people think, even if you don't like what we have to say. I'd be interested in hearing other people's opinions. And if there are other shows you want us to talk about, we watch a lot of these kind of CW soapy shows, like, we watched... Or, shows like this. The originals. We watched The Vampire Diaries. We watched Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf, Grimm, I've started watching. So if you've watched that, try to give a review on that one.
Pretty much anything on Netflix if you want my opinion about that.
We can cover anything.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
That's worth watching.
Mm-hmm. I'm eventually going to make little mini-series about what I think of the Teen Wolf.
That's all your project.
Oh, yes. yeah. Mickey wants no part in that. But,
I don't have enough to say.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy the holidays. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Yeah. Good night.